Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to talk about the mini vacation that I just went on to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, so that I could go to a convention called Shore Leave. And first off, I am going to be talking about my vacation as a whole, and I'm going to be reviewing the convention eventually. Like, that'll be its own little section of the video. So if you just want to watch that, listen to that to hear how it went, then I will be posting the times in the comment section as well as the description of the video. So, this vacation started off pretty chaotically. Like, I was like, okay, how am I going to deal with an 8-hour car ride or so? But surprisingly, the car ride wasn't that bad. Like, I had a couple of issues, but for some reason, now I really want to emphasize this because I know I've been talking a lot about recently having problems with stuff. Well, for some reason, I didn't really have many problems at all on this trip. The only problem I had was when I did my Deadpool video and I started getting anxious or something. But I really hardly had any problems at all. I didn't have any dizziness or anything. And so it really makes me wonder if I'm just really, really allergic to some sort of fungus or mold that is like in my room, or some sort of something that's around here that I'm so heavily allergic to, because like it was so bizarre, to like, feel like normal, like almost all day long, instead of like, what it's like here in this shitty ass Ohio. And so, but on the car ride there, it was really funny because we all packed lunches, and I packed like a big full lunch. I did not, I packed myself a couple of little Oreos. I packed some seeds and nuts and shit to try to balance out the healthy and the unhealthy. And I ate like at 11:30 a.m. And I thought I was being really smart by eating lunch early, because then we would have dinner at like a reasonable time. It would be a really nice dinner, and everything would be perfect, and we'll get to that. So on the way there too, I had a lot of trouble like deciding what to do. I really can't mention what I was actually doing because it's secret at this point, but I was working on a secret special project, which you guys will probably know about early next year or maybe the end of this year, So I was working on that, but it was kind of difficult to do because the stuff that I was doing, you just don't want to, like, while the car is moving, you don't want to like make a mistake, and it's really easy to because the car is shaky and everything. And there were a lot of accidents on the way too. A lot of like vehicles that were set on fire on the side of the road. And that was another thing. I was kind of like, uh-oh, is that a sign of something? Like, I don't know. So then as we were getting there, like, I just felt like my digestive system got fucked up because I was trying to drink as little water as possible, which is basically the opposite of what I would want to do, with the medication that I take and stuff like that. But I could just feel the fucked up nature of what was going on inside. And I was like, oh, like I really, because I packed this really nutritious lunch for the most part, and I thought that would do some good. There were a lot of mountains too. A lot of the times too, like my ears kept on popping, throughout the first or the last couple of hours actually. Like we went through all these tunnels too, which was really fun. And when we got to our hotel, here's when the interesting stuff happened. So, our hotel was kind of like a mixed bag. Like, I wouldn't say it's a bad hotel. The people were nice. The service was good. The room wasn't terrible. But there's just something off about that hotel. Something funny going on. There was a weird smell when we got to our floor 3, and we stayed in 317, which was like one floor away of being 217, which would be the book accurate room in The Shining. And so that was another funny thing. I was like, uh-oh. Once again, uh-oh. And also, when we got there, we saw this Turkey Hill gas station, and it made me realize, oh shit, I didn't even think about this. Lancaster is where they make Turkey Hill ice cream, which is like our favorite ice cream. And I thought, wow, what an amazing place to go to, because like I mentioned this before, but Kroger does not have Turkey Hill anymore. And it feels like it's impossible to get. And to have the opportunity to get it right there is just really, really nice. And definitely a plus. Although we did not take advantage. Which we probably should have. But anyways, there was a funny smell on our floor. I didn't know what was going on. It wasn't like someone had some kind of a bathroom issue, if you guys are wondering. It was just a weird smell. It wasn't like a cleaning liquid either. Like I don't even know how to describe it, but there's just a certain type of smell. And you label it by saying funny smell. You guys know what I mean? You getting the picture? So we were really hungry for dinner too, because especially Safi, because Safi, all she did was pack a sandwich and a little bag of chips that she didn't even finish. You know, like, as I said, like, I don't know why, like, could have packed all this other crap and could have made it, like, creative and everything like I did, but no, it's just a little sandwich and a couple of chips. There's not even a drink either. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, like, I made myself a drink. I made myself a Tang. You guys remember Tang? I drink Tang. Is kind of like a substitute to G Fuel, since G Fuel has caffeine, which I can't have right now because it elevates my anxiety way too much. Really, really sad, though, because I really miss having G Fuel. I always felt like I was getting, like, superpowers from drinking my daily G Fuel, you know? But, yeah, I made a drink. I made a frozen, ice-cold Tang. And boy, oh boy, was it perfect. But, yeah, like, Safi was starving. She was ready to collapse. And this is where things got really bad. We showed up, I forgot to mention, we showed up at the wrong hotel. Safi forgot to tell the driver to go to our hotel. So instead, they drove to the convention hotel. So we had to drive an extra 40 minutes to get to our actual hotel. And yeah, we stayed at the Candlewood Suites. That's what it was called, by the way. So it was really late at this point, and we were just wondering what to eat, because like all the places around were closed. You know, we wanted to go to this pizza place, and they had some really nice looking pizza. Like, you could get slices, just individual slices of all these different kinds, It looked really, really good. They had homemade desserts too, which is like totally rare for pizza places. Like usually for a pizza place, they're just like, oh yeah, for dessert we have frozen tiramisu we bought from somewhere else, and also frozen blah 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 that we bought from somewhere else. You know, they never have homemade desserts. So that was disappointing. It was a Venice pasta and pizza. It looked really good. Really, really sad we didn't get to go there. So we were kind of like not sure of what to get. You know, there was this Chinese place, but we were not in the mood for Chinese food. Plus, they don't have any desserts or good drinks. Well, I didn't even think they had any drinks. Like, their menu was kind of bad. So, I actually suggested we get Friendlies. Because we had a Friendlies 0.5 miles away from the hotel. Which was confusing because Friendlies was not on this list. We were given a list of restaurants that were near the hotel, and Friendlies was not there. Like, why? Like, it's literally right fucking there. You know, that should be number one on the list. And also, we wanted to have it because we used to have a Friendlies in the city where we live. But they shut it down and they put a Panera Bread there instead. You know, now we have two Panera Breads. One of them sucks, and one of them nobody really cares about anymore. That's the Panera Bread story of Beaver Creek. So, here's the kicker. I ordered it through Friendly's website, and they did it through DoorDash. What we should have done was just drive over there and pick up our food. That's all we had to do. And I was really frustrated. I mean, we're talking about 9 to 10 o'clock at night here. Like, exactly at the time I'm doing this video, actually. So, we were waiting and waiting, and you know, in the car eventually I just did not know what to do, and I just kind of sat there and manifested and shit. Like, I was so bored. I was like, okay, I'm bored, so that means I'm gonna manifest the shit out of this trip. You know, I am gonna sit here and repeat my affirmations like a fucking robot, and instead of like just sitting here like, oh, I don't know what to do. And so I was so tired and so hungry. I couldn't even find something good to watch. Like, I was just like, I'm so fed up. Like, they said it would take a while to get our food. They said it would take 50 minutes. But then 50 minutes passed. And it was past 10 o'clock at night. And we were like, what the hell is going on here? And you guys are never going to believe what happened, or you probably are going to believe, especially Davey. He's going to be happy because he's going to think, you know, he said a prayer for me. He's going to think that his prayer paid off, that like maybe my diet was saved from having Friendlies for one time, you know. What I ordered like a cheeseburger and a peanut butter lava cake thing. And I know you're like, wow, that's a lot, Mark. And it's like, yeah, I know. But that's what you do when you go on vacation. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, you have fun. I was going to get like a salmon dinner and be like, oh, I'm going to be healthy. But no, I was like, I'm going to get a cheeseburger, fries, and a fucking lava cake for fucking dessert. They had all sorts of awesome desserts, French toast and shit. Like, I love French toast, especially for dessert. And they had all sorts of shit. And, but after 10 o'clock, we called the restaurant, and they said that a man and a woman came there from DoorDash. They were DoorDashers, and they picked up our food at 9:30. So they stole our food. These DoorDashers, they stole it and they ate it. Yeah. I mean, that is like a nightmarish vacation thing. That is something that would be in a new Chevy Chase vacation movie, which they never make because, they fucking canceled Chevy Chase for some bullshit. But yeah, that was bad. So you know what we did? You know what we had to do? We went downstairs to the hotel pantry, and they had frozen food, which is probably even worse. So sorry, Davey. We went from having greasy frozen fast food to having frozen food, which is I don't even know. So they had Stouffer's. They had a couple of Stouffer Salisbury steaks. They had some mac and cheese. They had some frozen cheeseburgers that looked like crap. They had some breakfast stuff. They had a couple of nice desserts too. It was a nice pantry, actually. They had V8. I was almost going to get a V8. I was like, I'm going to pretend I'm being healthy here and get myself a V8 with my frozen mac and cheese, because I got a large Stouffer. They only had large. Got a large Stouffer's mac and cheese. Safi also got the mac and cheese. And I got a Fat Boy frozen ice cream sandwich, which I've had those before. They're really, really good. They are so satisfying, even though they look like just a little cube thing. It's really, really good. And I got a Nesquik chocolate drink, because I wanted something. I wanted some sort of... And they had Hot Pockets too, and I was almost going to get a couple of Hot Pockets, but I decided not to. So yeah, I just had to find something to enjoy. I just had to scrape together some kind of resemblance of a vacation meal that you would have. It was so depressing and crappy. You guys wouldn't believe. I was so pissed off. I was like, I'm about to go Liam Neeson on this bitch and find these DoorDashers who stole my friendlies. Because, I swear to God, I would have ordered the worst stuff on the menu if I knew that, people were going to steal it and eat it for themselves. What selfish, disgusting people that are in our society, So, yeah. Friendlies did refund us, though. We hope that they refunded the tip as well, because we did tip them. That's another thing. I tipped these robbers 15%. That's a generous tip. That's a big tip. It's bigger than it's bigger than most tips that people give. And I'm starting to not believe in giving tips anymore, because honestly, I'm sick and tired of giving tips before I actually receive any kind of service or know if my food is going to be good or bad. I'm sick and tired of this you got to tip for everything. I don't even want to tip anyone anymore. The only person I want to tip is myself. And the tip that I'll give myself is a treat. I'll get myself a little Snickers bar or something. That's my idea of a tip. Nobody deserves tips anymore. I have become Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs because of this vacation experience. And I'm proud of it. I don't care. Fight me. No, don't fight me, because that'll make me anxious. You probably would be able to win really easily here too, because I don't know what it is in Beaver Creek. I have some kind of it's like kryptonite with Superman. It is terrible, and I have no idea what it is, and it's ugh. Like, I wish that was not how it was. So, that dinner was awful. Well, it was okay. I was like, wow. At that point, I was very, very shocked. And oh yeah, our cat was there too. And the whole drive there, he was sitting on my feet. And he refused to drink any water. He would only eat food. Which was like a weird thing, because it was like, did he know that like he was going on like a drive? Because he's never been on a vacation before. So it was weird. Like, I think he's been on a vacation before we got him. So he knew not to drink any. I mean, that's really weird, guys. Like a pet in the car purposefully not drinking any water. In fact, you know what he did with his water bowl in the car? He spilled it on purpose because it was so hot, and so that then he could bathe in the water. I mean, we had the AC on, but it was just really hot. Yeah. So that day was over. I got to bed like past midnight, or it was like 1 o'clock, because I was so like strung out. And then we woke up, and we were like, oh yeah, another great thing about vacations is the breakfasts. You love staying at a hotel that has breakfast. It doesn't matter if the breakfast is bad or good or just okay. It's so much fun to go downstairs, to mingle with the other weirdos that are at the hotel, staying there. You get your biscuits and gravy or whatever you get, or the powdered eggs or the oatmeal, the cheap breakfast that they have. That's a part of the experience, the vacation experience. But oh wait, this hotel doesn't have breakfasts. So after that horrible night, it's like we have to get up and make our own breakfast we brought from home. We brought like oatmeal and yogurt to have, and but that was okay, because I knew what was coming. So we got a pretty early start. We went, first we got an early lunch, because the celebrities at this convention came in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I thought it would be smart to get an early lunch and then go to meet the celebrity that I wanted to meet, and then do convention stuff, and then leave, and then come back for the dinner, which was at 6. And it really worked out pretty nicely. McDonald's was nice too. McDonald's was another funny story, because I got a strawberry shake, and you better believe I enjoyed that strawberry shake. Like, it was so weird, like, getting McDonald's on a vacation, which is just something that you don't do. But, like, that strawberry shake was really good after being so disappointed with Friendly's. Like, we should have gotten Friendly's too. We should have gone there and been like, what happened? And like, I would have liked to have seen the security footage, like the surveillance video of like, what did this couple look like? I want to take a picture of them and make them famous on my YouTube channel, but we didn't do that. But McDonald's was kind of weird, because there was this one guy there, and he's probably just a nice guy, but like, there was something off about him. There was this, he worked there, and he like cleaned things, but like, he had a very weird demeanor about him. Like, he was really jumpy and kind of like fast, like just someone who he's nervous about something, or he's like getting sober off of, or I don't know, like he just acted like something was off, and he was a strange character, and he was just going around like everywhere, like just cleaning random things and that was really strange. And then he got like a drink and stuff, and then he left. So that was also really weird. So finally, we're gonna get to the convention part of this video. So timestamp at 25:13. So before I got to this convention, I should say, it seemed like the convention organizers were really thorough with providing all the information that they could. For this being my first shore leave convention, I wasn't really expecting anything. I wasn't expecting the universe or anything, like with if you go to like a Comic-Con or something, because I'd never been to a shore leave before. I've been to like 10 conventions, but never a shore leave. But the information was very overwhelming. It felt like, this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of great value here. Like, there's something for everybody, which is really nice. But it was very overwhelming. And I think that everyone really felt that because they had these free convention like books and brochures with all the maps and everything, but it was still so like daunting, going in there's all these rooms here and there and everywhere. Like, I got lost. Like, I went to the wrong place, and then I was like, oh shit, the actors are somewhere else completely, and I was in the wrong place, and like, yeah. But that was fine, it was still nice to walk around and everything, but yeah. It was like, wow, I wish I had some kind of like a tour guide, or like, I don't know, like a, or maybe just someone else to like walk around the convention with, because Safi decided she didn't want to go for some reason. She just kind of like flaked out like usual nowadays. And but it was a really nice hotel for the most part. Like, I really loved the restaurant, and I loved the layout. It's huge. It's a resort, I haven't really been to a resort before, so that was another first for me. So the first thing that I did, which is really stupid, you guys are going to laugh. The first thing I did was get in line. I waited in line for like 20 minutes, and then I talked to this guy at the hotel front desk because I thought that it mentioned something about the registration being at the front desk. I didn't know that they meant the registration for the hotel and not for the convention. So I went to the front desk, and the guy was like, no, the registration is over there. And they had these tables with these signs, and, even though I have glasses, I couldn't read the signs as well. But one of them said registration, and then the other one said pre-registration. I didn't know what pre-registration versus registration meant, because whenever I've gone to a convention before, they usually just did it all at the same place, like you go to this one counter or this one table, and you either buy tickets or you get the tickets that you paid for online. I never had something before where there were multiple tables for different things. It seems like kind of a waste, actually. It seems like it should just be one big table with registration on it, and then you have one person who, I don't know, maybe I'm just nitpicking, but I was confused about all that, so that was like how it started. So it was off to like a rocky start, and I noticed that people had some nice costumes, not as many as I expected though. Maybe it was because it was just Friday. Today's Saturday. It's supposed to be the biggest day of the convention. But mostly it was like a lot of like middle-aged to older people. There were a couple of young people, and I was hoping that maybe there would be one other young person at my table later on, because I did the fest with the guests option. And it was funny because I saw someone in the lobby, and I noticed, like, oh, that's one of the few young people that I've seen. And actually, she was one of the people who was at my table, so that was funny that, like, I was like, oh, look! And I was like, yay! When that happened. So, I went to the vendor hall, which, another thing was, it felt like anyone could really walk into the vendor hall, because you'd entered the vendor hall through the lobby, and there wasn't really security watching the doors until later on. So it really felt like I could have gone in there and just walked around and did whatever I wanted to do, you know. And but I went in there first because I thought the actors were going to be in there for some reason. I was mistaken about that too. So you guys can see, like, I mean, Safi even also said that it seemed like a very, like, disjointed and kind of, like, chaotic convention, just all over the place in terms of that. And I went in there, and there were a lot of really nice displays and things to get, you know, like a lot of stuff that I just, again, you go to these conventions, it's always like, oh, I wish I could get that, I wish I could get that, but I can only get these couple of things, you know, with the money I saved up. The first time I went in there, I looked at all the prices too. I tried to look at all the prices before I purchased anything, so that I knew, like, what I could and couldn't get after I got the autographs and pictures that I wanted. There was this one part with, like, a big table with swords and knives, and these were huge. And I just thought, like, oh, ow, it would really get hurt to get messed with one of these. And the woman was really nice, and she was like, you can take any of these swords out and look at them if you want to. And I was surprised by that, because this convention has, like, a no weapons policy. And I felt like, if I bought one of these swords, what do I do with it? Am I supposed to immediately go outside, take it to the car, and then come back in? Like, I wonder why they didn't have any sort of note about that on their programming. Because I was like, you know, if somebody slick could just get one of these little knives, purchase it, and then they would just carry it around in a backpack. Because mostly everyone had, like, a backpack, a tote bag, you know, a purse. Nobody's bags were getting searched. And I felt like, you know, that was something to mention. Not that there's anything wrong with getting knives and swords. It's just something to note. Maybe if I had gotten one, then she would have said something. And then there were really nice people too at this convention, like, especially the food people. There was this one guy. He was handing out free samples of everything that he had. I mean, he had all this licorice and candy and jerkies and Slim Jims and shit, and he was like, oh, you want a free sample of that? I can get you that. And it's just so funny, because, like, I've never had that before. Like, it's always like, oh, you have to buy something, you know, like, so it was just really surprising that someone is, like, nice enough to give you all these free samples, so that you know what you want to get. And I declined too. Because I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to take, like, I don't want to be tempted, you know, like, I don't want to be tempted to ask for all these free samples. But I saw that they had alligator jerky, which is funny, because when Safi went to Florida, she tried to get me alligator jerky, and there was no alligator jerky in Florida. Which is like, what? There's no... Wait, but Florida's, you know, alligator territory. So that was really surprising to her and to me, too. But there was alligator jerky at this convention. I was like, oh, yeah, I am coming back to get that later. There was also a really nice display with the fudge, different types of fudge. There were different authors there, and that there was some kind of sad moments too. I don't want to, name anyone or make anyone feel bad or anything. And it isn't bad, it's just it was sad because there's this one guy, he was selling his old video game collection. And he just, it was, it's like, I respect it. I respect he wants to get rid of his video games. He had some of the worst video games. Like, just the worst Xbox, PS3, PS4 games you could imagine. Like, the ones that are all free on PS Now, or they're heavily discounted on the PlayStation Store. Just the worst. And I felt bad because it felt like no one had really gotten anything from him yet. And then there was a guy selling coffee for, I have the thing right here, Rise and Grind. So it's kind of like a video gamer oriented coffee brand. And he was really nice too. He had all these different flavors and they all smell really good, but he didn't carry any decaf. So I'm going to buy some online, actually. I haven't decided which flavor yet. I've been kind of contemplating. I'm a very indecisive person, so it's hard for me sometimes. Like, there's a couple of things where it's like, yeah, it's really easy for me to make decisions, like the big things, like, but then, like, with things like this, like, I'm like, okay, do I get s'mores? Or do I get chocolate? Or do I get that? Or do I get that? I'm glad he didn't have free samples, too. Because, like, I couldn't imagine, like, how you could do free samples of coffee. Because having to keep it hot and everything and fresh, that would be really difficult to do. But lastly, so I really, really, really loved this vendor hall. I really felt like there were some great vendors there with some great products and some really nice people there. But the last thing that I saw was there was a very, very sad author. And I don't know if this person was sad for sure, but I really, really felt bad because I was like, if I had the extra money, I would have gone over and said hi and bought a book. And I would have totally read it too and reviewed it, but like I was just so sad. Like this person had like I've seen this at conventions before. I was at the I think it was Horror Hound in Cincinnati, or yeah, I think that's what it was. And there was this actor from one of the bad straight-to-DVD Hellraiser sequels, and he was about to cry. He was sitting there with this red face. No one was coming to his table, and he was about to cry. And it felt like this author was also about to cry. Or maybe that was just their normal face. Like, I don't know. Like, it was so sad, though. Like, I was like, what the hell? I feel really bad. Maybe I'll even buy this person's books online or something, because I think I can go and, like, check which one it was from the program or the website. So I went outside to look at the programming and see where the actors were, because I was like, okay, what's going on here? Where are the actors? I thought that they were going to be in the hall with the vendors, because usually at conventions, the actors and the vendors are in the same place. But no. You had to go to the lower lobby, which I don't even know what a lower lobby is in a hotel or resort or whatever. So I had to go to the lower lobby, and I had to look for it on the map, and thankfully I found it. And, yeah. I was like, okay, this looks nice. There was one kind of thing, though, where, like, not all the actors got their own separate tables. There was, like, a group of actors, and they were all kind of smushed together at this, like, sort of, like, San Diego Comic-Con type of table. And I thought that was kind of weird. Because it's like, it feels like you should just be able to go up there and get, like, a package deal, like, because they're all together, and, like, there wasn't even anyone talking to them at that point. And so I almost felt tempted to go up there and say, hey, can I get a group picture with you guys for $10 or something? But anyways, the person I wanted to meet was not there. She was not in that room. I had to go to this next room, which I was kind of nervous about because it almost felt like I was going somewhere forbidden because there wasn't very much lighting. And then I go into the back room, and there's just two actors back there. And the one that I met, it was really funny because there were, like, no lights. Like, it was weird because, like, there was lighting to get in there, kind of. But they were sitting basically in the dark. And I thought, wow. Like, if I ever go to one of these things as a celebrity guest, I'm bringing my own light to make sure that something like this doesn't happen, because that's just ridiculous. So I got my picture, I got my autograph. It was also really, really hot, and it felt like I'm glad that I don't have to actually be down here all day, because I could not survive. You know, like, it was really, really miserable down there. They had to bring fans because it was so bad. But meeting this person was very nice, and I will do that as a separate video, because I always do that type of thing as a separate thing anyways. But yeah, that was all really nice and good. I mean, I had no issues with that at all. And the pricing was also very reasonable. It wasn't like insane prices like there have been at these other conventions that I went to, especially recently. It's just like, oh, you want to do this? Oh, that'll be $100. Oh, you want to do that? That's another $100. Oh, you want to do both things? That's $150. You know, it's crazy. So after that, I just felt really worn out from going all around. And then I went back to get the jerky. And it was funny because as soon as I got back to the jerky guy, he was trying to push a free sample onto this other woman. And he just had his hand out with this, I don't even know what it was. It was like a beef stick of some kind. And, like, he just had his hand out, free sample, and I just ate it out of his hand. It was so hilarious. It was like the first thing that I did. And then I finally got my jerky. I got 4 types for $10. I ended up really liking the alligator. It was kind of spicy because it was like Cajun flavored. And yeah, I was really glad to finally be able to try alligator in some way, shape, or form. Even though it's like not exactly the same as trying alligator meat by itself. So we ended up leaving. We ended up going, like, even though I was kind of tempted to do one of the panels and stay for one of those, but I wanted to get ready for dinner and make sure that I was in the right mind and that I was gonna, feel okay. Because you never know with me. I'm always like, 1 minute it's like, ah, and then another minute I'm like, oh, I'm okay. So we got back to the hotel, and for some reason I was just not feeling well at all. I was feeling very, very depressed because of, and I will have to talk about this in the other video, because of remembering things and remembering. It's not anything to do with the guest or the convention itself. It was personal. It was past life related. And because I didn't know what would happen if I met someone from my past life. I didn't know like what I would feel, but it was terrible. Like I felt like I just felt like an extreme amount of depression after that experience, that first experience. So I was kind of surprised by that. I was a little taken back, and I was like, do we have any time to go swimming? Because I was kind of like, yeah, it'd be nice to go swimming right now, but no. We had to get ready. So, I am actually going to end this video and then do a part 2. Because I feel like the next part is so big that it really deserves its own part. You know what I mean? Like, it deserves its own video. So, see you in part 2.